something about me that makes me wonder. I swear I met you, but you're a stranger.
Welcome back to another episode of Herdiscussions. Today we'll be diving into a highly requested topic, and that is staying in bad relationships and the impact that it has on the individual. So question number one is, why do we stay when we know we should leave?
I just think a lot of times where we just become too comfortable. The thing is, it's like we feel as though we always got to try to like work something out, regardless if the other person is really not reciprocating the same thing. And I just really think it just simply is some people just don't want to let go. And they just think that hopefully that person is going to change for them. And we all know actually out this time to where we can't change nobody. You can't change nobody.
I would say the same. That's what I was gonna pretty much say. People when they're comfortable, when you're comfortable, you just feel like that person, then being there with you, and you feel comfortable person. You don't want to let go, and you don't want to have to move on to having to meet somebody new and go through the whole dating thing again. So we settle, so it's a little bit of, being comfortable in history as well.
Yeah, and I would say too, I think we all probably know and everybody know from life and experience that like when you feel like you're in love with someone, it's not easy just to walk away and leave them. The saying that they always say, nothing in life that's worth having comes easy. And like people, like especially Black people, we've been having to fight for everything, since the beginning of time. So, in your mind, it's like, I need to fight for this. Love is one of those things that you shouldn't have to fight for. Like, it should be a struggle to be loved properly. A lot of times you have this fake, like, okay, maybe things will get better, or hopefully it go back to what it used to be. Fortunately, it just doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, it's true. I did 3 different points. So the first one I said was oftentimes we or people just lack the self-love that it takes to leave situations. And then other times we're just, like y'all said, comfortable with individuals that we don't believe that there's anyone out there that could love us. And if there is, they're just comfortable with that situation. And I'll call that fear. And then my third one is some women rely on a male for that financial support in relationships. So to leave that relationship means that they are not going to be, they're no longer going to be financially supported. And I'm sure when it comes to parents that are relying on that financial support, your kids eating probably is more important than leaving a bad relationship. So I also wanted to add that one. And then I was reading an article on Medical News Today, and it talked about trauma bonding and how trauma bonding is a connection between an abusive person and the individual that they abused. And I found it so ironic. It's talked about like it typically occurs when the abused person begins to develop sympathy or affection for their abuser. And it's like, so they don't want to leave because they feel like, well, that person is emotionally detached because of their childhood. So you're just bonding with that person based on your on trauma, and that other person may have trauma in their past or their childhood. So it's like this whole trauma bonding. And I started reading all into it. It was so interesting. I was like, this is good. This is really good. So I would definitely advise people to read it. It's really good. And then
What's it called?
It's called trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding.
Mm-hmm. And they gave a quote. They said that bad times bond people as strongly as the good times, perhaps more so. So like you're bonded on bad situations that you guys both had in the past. Like it's so deep. And I think that Black people could attest to that, like having those shared experiences, being from some of us from hoods or ghettos or projects, as some people call them. You bond with certain people that you were raised with or in that environment with, that when you're dating them and you're like, oh, I can't leave him because I know what happened to him in his past and I know his family. It puts a hindrance on you that you can't move away from that, or you can't get over that love because, again, you trauma bonding. Really good. Highly recommend you guys to look that up. So question number 2 is, what impact has staying in bad relationships had on you, whether that be physical, mentally, or emotionally, or just in the way you parent?
It made me unhappy. Staying made me unhappy. And with me being unhappy, everything around me wasn't right. And the one thing I didn't want my daughter to do was to grow up and to see me unhappy, because that's she would think that it's fine to be okay in a relationship and be unhappy, and that's not the case. So before I had her experience, continuously see her mama just go through stuff or whatever, I just had to remove myself from the situation because I wasn't happy. Like my daughter deserved a happy mama. She didn't deserve that mama that, when she got off of work, she would drive up to the house or whatever and sit outside the car for an hour and I want to come in. Like that wasn't fair to her, So just not being in a happy environment and not being happy for my daughter, that's what made me stay. Well, that was the impact that it had on me, was being unhappy.
Yeah. And I chose mentally. I said mentally, it made me question my worthiness. And in every relationship after that, I just felt like I wasn't good enough to be in that relationship. And I try to make myself perfect so that that other person could like love me the way I should be loved. And the sermon that I heard this past week, the pastor was saying, stop loving people that are not even capable of loving you back. And I thought about the situations that I had been in after that situation, and those people were not capable of loving me to my standard or anybody's standard for that matter. So yeah, mentally, it made me question my worthiness. But I think it was during that questioning that when I learned about myself, more about myself. It wasn't until I took off that mask and the role that I was playing of staying because I didn't want nobody to say, look, she had to leave because it wasn't a good relationship. Just because me staying had nothing to do with me actually wanting to be there. It started to become like an ego thing. Like now I'm invested in this. I can't leave. Like I invested all this time and energy. Like why would I leave now? Like that would be crazy. Like I'm going to patch this puzzle together and make it work. So I would say staying in that bad relationship, it made me realize that I need better, deserve better, take off the mask and be honest with myself.
Yeah, and it's mentally and emotionally draining because I know, at times I would find myself trying to blame myself for stuff that I had no control over. Yeah. Like I was trying to change me. Basically, I wasn't even myself no more. Like I didn't want to say certain things or do certain things because I'm like, I don't want to piss this person off. So let me just kind of dim my light some and be, somebody completely different because I'm trying to squeeze puzzle pieces together that don't even fit and it ain't gonna work out. So it's definitely mentally, emotionally draining. You know how you go through certain situations, you always got all the sad songs and that never makes things no better. You got a whole playlist full of sad songs. I remember back in Houston, I used to be in my car listening to sad songs, crying. Going to work, like what the, I was like, why the hell am I even listening to this stuff? But yeah, it's really draining.
I would say for me, as far as within mental, because it was always as if I was the problem until you have to realize like, okay, this person just don't know how to take accountability. But at the time you don't know that, you know what I'm saying? They know how to switch it to make it seem like you was always the issue, So I would say for me, that was that until I just was like, and I felt like I really wasn't myself. Again, goes back to like Chandra, like try to like watch what you say or how you act or try that. It was too much. It's too much to try to be something that you're not, So
yeah, and
I was like, never again.
I think that kind of segues into the next one is like, what was the breaking point for you? Because I know for me, there was no situation. There wasn't no, oh, this is the 5th time he did this. Like, it was just one day I just woke up and I was like, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, he didn't make me mad. I don't even think he did anything. It was just like, I said, I don't even recognize the person that's looking back at me in the mirror. And like when you have to hide stuff from family and friends that's going on, like you literally have to deal with your stuff by yourself. Like you're like, you know what? I can do bad by myself and I'm going to get up and I'm going to get out this situation today. So that was my breaking point. It was just one day I just decided I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
That was me too. Like, after dealing with it so long, if you deal with it for a long time, when you know. Like I hear it all the time. Like, when a woman would know when she's fed up, I truly 100% believe when you're done. And that was with me. One day I decided like this ain't what I want. This ain't fair to me. Yeah. This ain't fair to me. So in order to make myself be happy and get what I deserve, I have to move on. And that's okay. I always wanted things to be differently, but for my own sanity, I had to leave.
I think it's one thing when you kind of lose respect for the person, but when you start to lose respect for yourself, Like that's a whole different ballpark because you
You better
get to
say
thinking
it.
like, why am I dealing with this? And I remember one day, my best friend, he used to be my coworker, my situation was doing good. I think the guy had just got a promotion or something, and I was smiling. I was ready to tell him everything, and I told him, and he just looked at me. He was like, "Why are you still fooling with him?" I'm like, "What? I ain't said nothing bad." He was like, "Why are you still fooling with him?" And I was embarrassed. And one thing about me is I hate being embarrassed. So that honestly made me self-reflect. Like, what is it that's making me stay involved in this situation it's not helping me. It's like I'm constantly giving and I'm getting basically nothing back. Like, why am I putting up with this? And I think for me, that was a turning point because that made me self-reflecting. Like, okay, Chandra, you deserve more than this. Like, it really made me look at myself like you are worth so much more and you deserve somebody so much better. So I think that day was a turning point for me, and a breaking point, I guess I should say.
It's complicated because it was like it came to a point to yes, we had definitely grew apart, but then it was like we kind of came back. You get what I'm saying? And still, you still hoping and thinking or whatever. Then it was like a situation that happened to where now I'm older, I'm more eyes open, more, you get what I'm saying, more so where you can't be manipulative or anything like that. But it just became to where it was like I can't continue to take the disrespect. You get what I'm saying? And you have to choose you. And that's where it actually ended. And honestly, I was surprised because even though like I was good with, you get in that situation and you feel as though like you're not able to let that person go. You know that feeling. Everybody hate that aching feeling where you think it's not going to go away. The shit going to go away. You're going to be fine. You're going to be happy. You're going to be good. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it was complicated. I can't really give you an actual, but it just like I just knew. And then I end up getting everything was supposed to happen the way it was supposed to happen in order for me to completely let go.
I think those experiences are good for us because like Nate was saying, like you don't just end it like at that first time. Like you come back a couple of times because you think, okay, maybe this time will be better. But now I think that's helped us in a way. So now that's why we like, hey, look, if you're not ready to love, because love gets deep. Like either you're gonna be in or out. You can't have one foot in the door and one foot out the door. Like if you really want to be involved with me, then you have to be serious. And that's why I feel like we're at that point now. It's like we not taking no BS from the jump. So
yeah, and I guess my next question was, since there's two people on here that do have children, like, do you think that was there any point in time that you stayed because of the children? Or was it like other reason? Okay.
It was most definitely because of the children. Like you want your kids to have, the two-parent home and all of that. And they deserve that. They deserve mommy and daddy, but they don't deserve an unhappy mommy or unhappy daddy. Yeah. Period. Like if it's not going to be a happy home all together, then it's not fair to them because they deserve that. They deserve to see happy parents, whether it's, a happy mom or happy dad. And I mean, it's cool. I mean, if they see you happy this way and the other person happy that way, as long as they see their parents happy, that's fine. Sometimes a two-parent home, it's more, if it's going to be toxic, it's not going to be right for the children. You don't want your kids growing up in a toxic environment. I know I don't.
So Tier, just to piggyback on what you were saying about being in a two-family household, I can recall so many times where I was younger because I was raised in a single-parent household where I always thought like people that had two parents, like it was great. It was like the most best thing since anything. And it wasn't until I grew up and I started asking people about being raised in two-parent households. And I was like thinking I was going to get these Bill Cosby stories and like the dad had these sweaters on and they sat at the table. It was like, no, they were like, no, it was chaotic. I wish they would have just broke up or the guys were not together. And I'm like, all this time I've been yearning for this when I was younger. And you're telling me that it was like two chaotic people in one house? They were like, yes. So that's funny that you mentioned that two-parent households because that is definitely something that I always wanted when I was younger.
And it don't be right. Like if it ain't meant, it's okay. It's okay. You know, and with me, my mama, we've never had like a man live with us. Like I've seen her do it all by herself.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I was kind of the same way like you were, like, well, I don't want my kids to be able to grow up or whatever without having a male figure in their life. But at the same time, I look back and how mama raised us. We was happy. We was happy as hell. You know, it was a family with just us and our mom, and just seeing her happy because her kids was happy. I would rather have that than to deal with have a man in our life or whatever, and just see her hurting or sad or, you know what I'm saying, a toxic environment, because it wouldn't have been right for us. With us, just being with her and seeing the love that she had for us was just more than enough. It's all we needed.
Yeah. And then even me saying the Bill Cosby show, I'm thinking about all the drama that Bill Cosby had with the his court case. And I'm thinking like, I mean, that was just a show, because reality definitely wasn't the same thing. So that just brings me back to like, you think you want something, and then when you get older, you're like, did I need that? Like, thank you, God. Right. Like I didn't have that. But I would say it all stemmed from like being raised in that environment where my mother would say, we don't have it. And I'd be like, well, such and such has the money. Why do they family have it? She'd be like, well, they have 2 people living there. They can afford it. And I'm like, okay. So in my mind as a kid, I'm thinking, okay, so if we just had an extra person, we could afford all these great things that I want. But I think my mom did a great job herself. I just think you always look at the grass on the other side of the street and you say, that's much greener. I want that. So, so you realize that when you get over there to that grass, it's probably fake grass and it didn't need no attention or anything because it's not real.
Right. Right.
Okay. For me, no, I know the thing is, obviously, yes, we would want to have that, you know, that ideal family, but I know that I did not stay. That's because of my son. And I just think it was more so with, you know, honestly, this was like my first love. This is like somebody I really thought that this was love, you know, and our whole idea of what we taught is love is not what really love is. You get what I'm saying? And no, I just really stayed for, it was really him. It didn't really have to do, because I knew regardless when we did, or when, you know, separate, that I knew that he still would be there. I think a lot of people stay because they think that the father won't be there. You get what I'm saying? The way that they will want them. But I knew that it would be just like how it is now. He do what he need to do. Yeah. So yeah.
I knew that as well. But it's just something about that, the love of just having 2 people in the house. Like I always knew he was gonna be there. He'd be there more than I'd be there. But it's just the thought of just having that, you know, the white picket fence and the Christmas tree, and y'all all surrounding and you're singing Christmas songs and a hot chocolate matching pajamas. It's just that type of feeling that, you know, that you think that you want. Like I always knew he would be there, but you know, I want the fairy tale life, you know.
And that's my issue with the Disney movies. Like they always end. It's like, wait, what happens after they get married and after they riding away? Like they don't know give us the background for us. Like
you want a part 2?
Like all our lives, they just been giving us this whole fairy tale, you know, from everything. Like when you graduate school, you're supposed to go to college. You're supposed to get married, have kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have the white picket fence and the dog and all of this. And it's like, that's not reality. And I think they need to stop selling like all this false advertisement. It's not cool.
You want to redo?
You want to update? You want them to update the show?
You have to edit all the videos, all the movies.
I just need an update on Cinderella's life. That's all. I want to know if her husband had her back in that kitchen working like a worker bee, like the little worker.
She actually received the love that she needed with all her sisters and all of that.
You know, it sucks when you in certain relationships, because people, they tell us like love. When you love somebody, you stick with it. And even when people give their wedding vows, to death do you apart, to good, to bad. But how much is bad? Like bad or bad? Like I would need clarification. Like what? How far are we going with this bad?
Me and somebody else actually had a conversation in regards to, regardless of like marriage or just, you know, in a relationship. And me personally, I just feel like disrespect is just disrespect. regardless. And my thing is like, we have to accept that. And I think a lot of people just feel as though when they do something disrespectful, you feel as though you still have to deal with it because this is your husband. That's not the case. And that's not what you signed up for. You get what I'm saying? So I just feel as though like the ideal marriage on how they make it seem to where you have to deal with this person because of how they are and the vows that you take. I feel like it need to be reverted. That's just me. But I just feel as though it have to. I don't like the way that it is portrayed. You get what I'm saying? For instance, you have some people that's okay with getting cheated on in my business. But I feel as though at what point is it still okay just because he's your husband? Or what is it because society has it that men are dogs, right? Men are going to cheat. So it's like, do we have to really accept that he's going to cheat? Is it still have to be acceptable that he cheated when he do, you know what I'm saying, when he do it? You get what I'm saying? And I don't agree with that at all.
Do you think that before the people get married, that these are the same people that they married? Like, or do you think it's like a big change? Like maybe they were great and then they got married and then they're like a hellraiser?
I would say majority you already seen it or you already went through the BS before you even did. I think a lot of people do get married because they think it's going to change.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And it don't. Yes, you have some people to where, yeah, they could be a completely, different person. I tell people all the time, you never know someone 100%. I don't care how long you've been with them. I don't care. You've been with them side by side every single day. And I can be attest to that. You do not know someone 100% because you never know. One day they're going to switch. You just never know.
I mean, I've seen some great marriages, but I don't know what's actually in that marriage or even relationships. I just know I've had bad relationships and I've had good ones. I've stayed because, like Chandra said, I listen to way too many songs time I stay. I'm crying. You ain't ride or die unless you stay. Like, I was born in the 90s. That was the era of
the ride or die. Can please people really specify the ride or die? Because hell, I think everybody in the car died. So ride it.
Did they? I don't know. I don't think I've seen that movie.
I'm trying to figure it out. Like my mom and my dad, they've been together forever, ever. They have been together forever. No, they're not together now, but people still think they are together. Yes, they are divorced. People don't think they are divorced. One thing for sure, my daddy loves my mama. Whatever she need, whatever she want, he got her. He gonna take care of it. My daddy had always been a guy to where if there's a need, I got you. That's how we grew up. My mom is more so, okay, you need some or, the want, whatever what we want, she got it. My daddy is more so, you need the coat, you need stuff for sports, you need food, I got you. Anything else, it really don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how he was. And he made sure everything was taken care of. Even to this day with my kids, his grandkids, they need a coat, they need some food. You get what I'm saying? That's just how they were. And I do like how they are and how they always been. I can tell you that I never seen them argue when I grew up. I never seen it. I never seen the whole mess. You get what I'm saying? Even to this day.
I'm sure that was probably hard, but being intentional, I think that's my big thing. Like going into my next relationship, I wouldn't want to argue in front of my children. Like I know.
I think that's okay.
I think relationships probably do work better when a man loves the woman more than she loves him.
I totally agree. I totally agree. That's why I said I need somebody who's gonna love me more than I love their ass. Because
he's gonna take care of things. Now, one thing I can say about my dad is like he was a man who he didn't speak much, but my dad, like he literally taught me that love was an action word. Like everything he did, he showed that he loved his family. Like consistently, he loved us wholeheartedly. Like everything he did in his life, he did for us. So that's something that, a trait that I'm looking for in the man. Like just show me, like you don't have to tell me that you love me 1,000 times. You don't have to write me 1,000 cards for Valentine's Day. Just show me that you love me every day so I can know that it's real.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, my daddy is the same. He don't say much. I'll say now with baby girl, he's a whole nother person. She got him wrapped around his finger. And I've noticed more of the affectionate side, you know what I'm saying, of him that she brings out. of him or whatever. So
Yeah.
definitely, I said that before. I would want somebody how my daddy treat my mother. I want that.
So that brings us to our social media question. What are your thoughts on social media?
For me, I don't have a problem with social media. Yeah, you have a lot of people that like to portray things. Obviously, let's go back with the kind of go back to the whole what you were saying, Trina, with like the Cosby Show. Like you see something, but
Yeah.
behind closed doors, it's something totally different.
Yeah.
And I just don't like when you see a whole lot of relationship goals, and then
Yeah.
something comes out where he beating on a woman. Actually, I read an article. I've seen a thing today. I don't know who the couple was. Apparently, they were a whole relationship goal, but she ended up killing her husband and killing herself. Yeah. And my thing is like, you just never know what other people is like going through. And not even that, regardless of that, you have a lot of people that, try to look good just for other people who really don't freaking matter. I never want to really care about other people's opinions.
Yeah.
I honestly, people know me. They know what I post is really me. Other than that personal stuff, I really don't post. You get what I'm saying? But I just really feel as though it's not an issue for me. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I think it's to have good things where people want to promote their business, They trying to get their business out there. Obviously we try to get our show out there, whatever. I think there is a lot of good things. And I feel like there's a lot of opinionated people who shouldn't be opinionated on there too at the same time. So I just don't like the ones that tell their business and then when people got something to say about it, then you be like, get out my business, but you post your business. You know what I'm saying? That's but I don't necessarily have a problem with being on social media because I'm me.
Well, I don't have social media. I get on YouTube sometimes, but I don't have any like social media handles. I think that's what the guy asked me. What's your social media handles? I don't have social media.
I ain't never heard of that.
Yeah. Instead of asking for numbers these days, they ask, what's your social media handles? I'm like,
I know what's your Snapchat? Snapchat.
Got none of that. I think the intentions of social media was great. You was linking people together, family, friends, people that you hadn't seen in years, people way across the country. So I think the intentions were good to get people together and be able to talk to people miles away. But I think it messes up people's or sometimes women's perception of what their bodies should look like. So I see a lot of people like getting different surgeries and I know social media plays a big role in that because there are so many people promoting it and they think like this is what men want. So this is what I'm going to go out and get. So I think it started out good and then it kind of went down. And
I think social media is depressing. I think it's overwhelming. I think it's depressing.
Yeah.
I think because we've lost touch of reality with it. And when you lose touch of reality, nothing else matters. Everybody it goes to social media for other people's opinions and to be judged. And I just feel like if without it, we can go back to old school love and we can go back to like, even with our, like the class reunions, like the class reunions don't even seem like they be fun no more because you already connected. Ain't like, well, I ain't seen this person in 10 years because you see them on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like we've lost touch of reality. So it's depressing and it's sad pretty much. Like I'll get on there and I'll just look through some of the stuff and I'll be like, oh my God, why is this taking up so much of my time? Like I get bad every time I get on social media, like real talk. So that's why I find myself deactivating my page like twice a year. I'll be on social media probably like 2 months and then delete it for the 8 months. And I probably go back on there, but it's just when I get on there, I'm just like, this is why I was off. This is too much. Everybody lost touch of reality and I don't like it.
I think it does have its pros and cons. Like it's nice to, see like old friends or family members and see everybody kids and got grown up and everything. But I definitely know that it has its cons because it influences people to do like a lot of silly stuff. And like you were saying, like back in the day, man, like Black Planet used to be popping. Like everybody was just cool. You play your little music, like legit, like talking. And I just miss those days because nowadays it seems like so artificial and like most people try to be somebody that they're not and live a life that they don't live. I definitely think it has its pros and its cons.
And like this whole like people with the DMs, like don't write me no message in my DM. You better write me a letter. Write me a letter, spray some cologne on it or something. Make me want to feel it and touch it and love it. Like
Yeah, I like
Nowadays,
that.
you gotta watch what you put on. Like you somebody in your DM, you gotta watch what you say because you scared you're gonna get screenshotted. And I don't have time for that. Bring back the old school stuff. Bring back the old school love. I was born in the 90s. Wish I grew up in the 90s because this whole situation we got going on now, this generation is just horrible. I just feel sorry for it. Like I'm so mad that I did not grow up in the 90s, y'all. I was so mad that I didn't because I feel like that's my error. This whole new thing they got going on now, I hate it. And social media is a part of a main reason why we are how we are because of social media.
Well, let's go ahead and end it there. Thank you all so much for watching today's episode. Make sure that you turn on that notification bell so that you never miss an upload, and follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, and our TikTok channels. All the details will be linked below. And our quote for the week, drum roll, please. We accept the love that we think we deserve. And on that note, bye.
Bye.
What's up, what happened then? I'm even knocking back again. Now I'm on.